The big story that's coming in from Afghanistan, the Taliban have made it very clear Afghanistan under them will not be a democracy. In the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, there will be a strict Sharia, Islamic law of Sharia. So there are about 50 countries in the world that follow the Sharia law. It's the Taliban's interpretation of the Sharia that has Afghans, especially the women, fearing for their rights and their freedom. Now, in its earlier avatar, the Taliban had banned women from going to school, from working, from showing off their ankles or venturing out without a male escort. Will Taliban 2.0 be any different?
Burqa or death? The choice is very real, as both have returned to Afghanistan with a vengeance. The Taliban are back, 20 years after they had been evicted from power. And the Afghan women had revealed their faces to breathe in the air of freedom. Taliban 2.0 is promising women their rights, but only within the framework of the Islamic Sharia law as interpreted by the Taliban.
Women will be afforded all their rights, whether it is in work or other activities, because women are a key part of society, and we are guaranteeing all their rights within the limits of Islam.
But so far, the reality has been quite different. Pictures of women at Kabul beauty salons have been painted over. While Taliban spokesperson appeared on television to be interviewed by a female presenter, women journalists across networks have been asked to stay at home.
मैं ऑफिस गई और जब मैं ऑफिस पहुंची उधर मुझसे कहा गया कि आप घर जाना ऑफिस में अलाउड नहीं है. मैंने पूछा क्यों अलाउड नहीं है. उन्होंने कहा कि निजाम बदल गया है और आप इस दिन के बाद नहीं कर सकती, जॉब आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते. I had a meeting with the new leader that he is from Taliban. They said for us now you might wait because we didn't decide that can a woman work or not in TV. So a few days you must be at home.
The former captain of the women's soccer team, Khalida Popal, has urged female players to burn their kits, delete their social media profiles and photos to protect themselves from the ruling regime.
I've been encouraging all these young women and girls in my country to be the voice for voiceless, to stand strong, to be bold, to be visible. Today, I'm calling them and telling them, take down their names, remove their identities, take down their photos for their safety. Even I'm telling them to burn down or get rid of your national team uniform. And that is painful for me.
In the 1990s, when the Taliban had been the masters of Afghanistan, there were strict rules that concerned anyone born a woman. The Taliban enforced their version of what they considered strict Sharia, or law according to Islam. Taliban's assault on women began almost immediately after they took power. They closed the women's university and forced all women to quit their jobs. There were floggings and execution of women on the streets of Kabul that had been filmed, and when these visuals reached the audiences outside, it brought out the horrific reality of what being an Afghan woman meant under the Taliban. Everything was banned. Women were treated worse than livestock. Girls in Afghanistan between 1996 and 2001 were banned from studying, banned from working, banned from leaving house without a male chaperone, banned from showing any skin in public, banned from healthcare, banned from politics, banned from speaking out to an audience. The punishment for breaking any of these rules was immediate and could be carried out by any Taliban official or fighter. Women were flogged on the spot if even an inch of her skin was seen. The same punishment if a girl was spotted trying to study, and if a woman was accused of adultery, she would be stoned then and there. An accusation of crime was often enough to call for the harshest punishment. Amnesty International listed an incident where a young girl's finger was chopped off because she wore nail polish. Under the Taliban, women disappeared in Afghanistan. Without rights, without freedom, without dignity, and without hope.
On India Today, we are bringing you ground realities. For example, Afghanistan's biggest female pop star, Ariana Saeed, she's fled Afghanistan. Now, she took a US outbound flight from Kabul the day Taliban took control of Afghanistan. The singer says she's amongst the lucky few as she managed to flee. We bring you these details.
Ariana Saeed is a superstar in the country, known not just for her peppy songs and her infectious energy, but also for breaking stereotypes on what a woman can and cannot do in Afghanistan. Ariana is one of the fortunate few women who's made it out safe out of Afghanistan days after the Taliban takeover. The pop star posted this picture on social media on board an evacuation US aircraft on Wednesday, confirming that she was out of the country after what she called a couple of unforgettable nights. From Doha, Ariana continued to Turkey, where she resides full-time with husband Hasib Saeed, an Afghan music producer. Ariana's husband also shared a short video on Instagram on their flight to Turkey of the pop star fast asleep. Ariana is one of the lucky few women who've escaped Taliban rule and made it safely out. But there are still countless women who have no choice but to live a life of fear and trepidation of what's to come. Listen to this appeal from the former captain of the women's soccer team in Afghanistan.
I have been using my voice, the power of my voice, and I've been encouraging all these young women and girls in my country to be the voice for voiceless. Even I'm telling them to burn down or get rid of your national team uniform. And that is painful for me.
The women of Afghanistan are scared today. It's been a long, arduous journey to claim basic rights after a regime that suppressed them. And now they fear it's back to square one. Bureau Report, India Today.
But not everyone is running away. There are those women, they're brave, they're courageous, they're standing tall, and they're raising their voice against Pakistan-backed Taliban. Now, one of these brave women recently led a protest in Afghanistan, challenging the Taliban, showing incredible courage, holding the Afghanistan flag high on the streets of Kabul. Her images went viral. India Today's Pooja Shali spoke to Crystal Bayat, who took on the Taliban single-handedly on the streets of Kabul. Watch this.
Crystal, what is giving so much bravery and courage to young Afghans like you to come out on the streets in Kabul, in other cities as well, and protest while the brutal Taliban are taking over? Crystal.
Thank you. We wanted to show the Taliban and that Afghanistan and its people have changed. You all have to change, and you have to forget your extremist thoughts and beliefs. We are unavailable from our rights and freedoms. How long we should be afraid from Taliban? We have to face this group and see that they have changed. They have changed is another matter. But as I faced with them, the Taliban's not changed. Taliban are the Talibans of 1997 with a narrow mind.
So when you decided to come out on the streets in Afghanistan, you were seen protesting. You had an Afghan flag in your hand. What are the risks involved presently for brave people like you there in the country who have decided to continue holding the Afghanistan flag in your hand and also come out on the streets and show a message there to the Taliban?
Well, as up to now, it's illegal that they are raising their group flag. That it's a group flag. It's not a national flag or our country's flag. We went to Tapi Wazir Akbar Khan to raise our flag and our Independence Day and celebrate our independence. So they didn't allow us, though I was knowing that they might shoot on me. But I accept all these challenges, and I went there and I talked with them face to face that we have this right. But unfortunately, they behave in such a way that they told me, you're a woman, you are a lady, you have to stay at home.
Yes.
So I told them that we have the right to come out and we have to take part in all spheres of the society, and they said you're in a wrong way. So I didn't accept them, and then I continue, and we came on the streets and by giving slangs of Zindabad, Afghanistan. So long life to Afghanistan. And unfortunately, we were on the way, and they shoot on us. So my
some of your friends, yes, did they receive injuries?
Yeah. Yes, they received injuries, and they shot it on us, and they came and they beat our driver very badly.
It's these brave women of Afghanistan. They are raising the cry of Zindabad, Afghanistan. They have a right to be out, to work, to study. The Taliban don't want that. But there is no end to the human tragedy in Afghanistan at this point of time. And the desperation is forcing mothers to hand over their babies to US security forces at the Hamid Karzai International Airport in Kabul. This heartbreaking image, watch some of these images. They just show how desperate people are. If they can't escape, at least they want their children to have a better, brighter future away from the Taliban.
Parents desperate to send their infants out of Afghanistan. Taliban fighters raining fire at the Kabul airport. Nearly a week since the Taliban takeover, chaos continues at the Kabul airport. Thousands of people wait helplessly at the gates of the airport. With papers and passports in hand, they hope and pray that they will make it inside and catch a flight.
There is no water, no food. We have patients here. We have families, kids, there's lots of chaos going on right now. We are threatened by the local here that if we will get out from this place, then we will not be able to evacuate it.
Parents desperate to ensure a future without the Taliban for their children are even willing to separate from their babies. This heartbreaking footage shows how parents passed their wailing baby to strangers, hoping that their infant gets on a flight. And then you see how the American troops on the other side of the airport wall help out desperate Afghanis, carrying their babies in carefully over the razor wire and putting them in flights. Desperate Indians too are waiting for help. Over 250 of them are stranded close to the Kabul airport. They can hear the Taliban fighters' gunfire and are now stuck inside the building with no food and no water.
You see all people, women, children, and guys, everyone came from our home. They want to escape from here. Some guys say we didn't live from the Taliban's flag.
Thousands are awaiting a flight to freedom out of Afghanistan. As Taliban rule returns, locals are thronging the Kabul airport in hope for a new lease of life outside their homeland. Bureau Report, India Today.
But the Taliban seem to be getting stronger. It's not just the arsenal they came with or the support that they get from Pakistan, but also the weapons and systems left behind as the US left Afghanistan and the Afghan National Army just melted away. Now we've collated some of the systems and equipment that Taliban now have access to, which they didn't earlier, including fighter aircraft, attack helicopters, assault rifles and more. Taliban didn't just occupy Afghanistan, they also hit jackpot when it comes to modern weapons, systems and equipment. For example, earlier the Taliban didn't have air power. Now they have combat aircraft. They have the Super Tucano attack aircraft. Earlier they did not have utility helicopters, for example. Now they have the Mi-17 medium lift transport helicopters, extremely versatile helicopters. Earlier they did not have attack helicopters. Now the Taliban unfortunately also have the Mi-24 attack helicopters. What about their personal weapons? Earlier, they only had the assault rifles. Now, they have sophisticated American M16 and M4A1s also. Not just that, they also have light machine guns. The light machine guns that the Taliban have are made in America and far more sophisticated. What about utility vehicles or vehicles that they require to move forward? Earlier, they only had the Toyota pickup trucks. Now, they have armor-plated Humvees, mine-protected vehicles. Earlier, they had no mine-protected vehicles. Now they have the American Max Pro mine-protected vehicles, and these are in the line of fire. They can just drive through and stay protected even from light IED blasts. Drones. Once again, earlier the Taliban didn't have access to unmanned aerial vehicles. Now they have the Scan Eagle surveillance drones, which actually help them keep an eye on the adversary in case they move in for an assault. Artillery. Earlier, old Russian Grad rockets. Now they have both light artillery and medium artillery. The 155mm howitzers, they have the lighter guns made in America, which can be lifted easily and taken to different areas.